The Rodriguez Show.
And we are back on The Rodriguez Show, and we have our first guest for the episode. They are my friends. They co-host the 30's podcast on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Get it for Marcus and Clinton. What's up, guys? How are you?
What's going on, Caesar?
Hello.
Hey.
We're good.
Yeah, thank you for being here today. I know you guys don't live close to this area. Where do you guys live?
In the Inland Empire.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So how's the drive to come to the studio?
It's not too bad. It's like 45 minutes is usually like the standard. It can be an hour with traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not too bad.
It's good because it's enough time to think about what we're going to say that time.
Yeah.
It's a good place to get the creative juices flowing on the way
prep
here.
time.
Yeah, so the reason I know these guys is because I produce their show, the 30's podcast, on YouTube, like I said. So take us back to before even the podcast. How did you guys meet?
So we met through mutual friends. A very good friend of mine was good friends with him. And we just met up one day. We kind of, like when you kind of merge friend groups together, it's always kind of like, is this going to go good or bad?
Yeah, who is this person?
Yeah, because you act differently with different people.
Yeah.
So we ended up meeting up one day at like a Golden Spoon.
Yeah, it was at a Golden Spoon. I brought my friend John, who was my manager at Chick-fil-A, with me.
Yeah.
Back when he worked at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. I was the cow first.
You were?
Yeah, that was my first job ever. I was 15.
You literally dressed as a cow.
Yeah, I think legally you weren't allowed to do other stuff.
Yeah.
But they were like, get in that cow suit.
Oh, shit.
And that brought me out of my shell, I think. Because then I would get people to tell me like their life stories, and I would just shake my head up and down. That was about it.
They would come and tell you their problems.
Yeah, I'd be like, it was fun. Someone would be like, oh yeah, my niece is a Laker girl, and I'd be like, sign for like, give me her number.
Yeah, that's how we met. And then so me, our other friend, his friend John, and him, the four of us kind of like really hit it off, and we just became really good friends. And this was how many years ago was this?
That was like 12 years ago.
12. I think it was more than that.
Probably more.
But
12 years ago, damn.
It's got to be more than that. Anyway,
you guys have been friends for a while.
It's been a while, yeah. So we just had like we created a really good friend group.
Yeah.
And but it was still kind of like he was still like my other friend. He was still his friend, really. And I wouldn't say it until maybe a couple of years ago where it was like we kind of found like common ground and we just became very close.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Nice. So I mean, one of the things that you guys talk about in the show is your love of comedy. How did you come to like comedy, both of you guys?
Like ever since I was a kid, I knew that like, oh, this is probably my thing. I remember the first time I really made like a classroom laugh was in 4th grade, where we were doing the Greek play and we're trying out different roles, and I got some role and I was like, I'm gonna commit this as if I'm like a C-3PO, like flimsy butler. Yeah. And I did a voice and I was like, oh my. And everyone looked at me and was like, oh my God. Like that was good though.
Yeah.
So I remember that was the first time I like could like knew like, oh, I'm not just doing like Disney songs and dancing around. Like, oh, I could really make people laugh.
Yeah.
But then getting more into comedy, I worked at places like Disneyland, and then when Warner Brothers, I was working there, I would commute there from like the Chino area.
Yeah.
So I had all this time and all the time in traffic. So that's when I really got into podcasts.
Yeah.
Because there were some that were like pretty meaty, where they're like an hour and a half, like almost 2 hours long. They're talking to legends that I love. Like back in the day, it was like WTF, and it had Robin Williams on. He's my favorite all time, Robin Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, WTF is a good one.
Yeah.
Everybody's been on
that. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, like that's a way in too.
Yeah.
And so then once I knew that, like during COVID, Marcus was getting into all the podcasts. I was like, oh, finally a podcast person.
Yeah.
So like for me with the comedy thing is that I've always been into podcasts. Like I love podcasts. I consume them all the time. But when the pandemic started, I got furloughed. I didn't get laid off, but I didn't have a job. So I was and I lived alone at that time. So I was just at home alone in my apartment, and I had nothing to do. So I don't remember how I got exposed to comedians. It must have been Joe Rogan, because he has them on his show all the time. And I just listened to his here and there. And I found comedians through their podcasts because they all started doing podcasts when the pandemic started. Some of them already had podcasts going, but I think once they couldn't get on stage anymore, they had to start doing podcasts because that's how they needed to work.
Yeah.
And so there was just an explosion of comedians on podcasts. So I found them, and I just felt like a kinship with stand-up comedians because you can just, I've been this way as well. You just say whatever the fuck you want. There's no repercussions really because who's gonna cancel a comedian? They go on stage in nightclubs, whatever.
Yeah.
And I just found it very, and this was like height COVID, so like the world was kind of a weird place, with everything that was happening in 2020.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to be like, fuck everybody, and like let's just laugh and like that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
And so I just really got sucked into comedian podcasts and to where that was all I was consuming. I wasn't watching TV. We couldn't go out back then, but I wasn't doing anything but just listening to podcasts. And I was like, I don't want to do stand up. That's not my thing, but I feel like I can do podcasting. I love podcasting and I love being behind the mic now.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like now that stuff's opened up again, I've been going to a lot of stand up shows and it's amazing. Like if you've never been to a stand up show, like fucking go. It's the best. Yeah. It's the fucking best.
Yeah.
And that's how I fell into comedy.
Who are some of the people you guys like right now? Like,
ooh. So like my top right now is Tom Segura and Christina P from YMH. Obviously listen to Rogan, Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, Annie Letterman, Esther Pavitsky, Bert Kreischer.
I like Bert. Because I feel like I might have like similar party energy as Bert Kreischer. So you have
the same
watching him.
The same toddler energy.
Yeah, we're gonna go and just rock it. Oh, should we though? I don't know.
Bert's like an adult toddler, so it's like it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more into the more like weirder stuff, like Patty Harrison. Have you guys seen her?
I haven't seen Patty Harrison.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like I like stuff that like kind of makes you uncomfortable when you're watching it. Because I do like the traditional stuff like you guys are mentioning, but like I don't know, stuff that you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Stuff that makes you kind of feel uncomfortable or just feel like, how do I feel about this? I guess whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and then even now, like when I listen to stand up, like I do enjoy the people you're saying, like, and it's just like they just got to be really good at what they're doing, right? Because it's like everybody loves a joke,
right?
That's the thing about it. It's like you're moving people with words. It's so fun to do that.
That's the thing too about a stand-up show is that everyone's there to laugh. So like every now and then you'll get like the heckler who like it's usually somebody dragged them to the show. Like they're not there. They're not stand-up fans. But it's like you go into that room, you go into comedy clubs are dark and they're kind of smelly usually, and it's just a bunch of drunks in there. And it's something very freeing about just who knows how everyone in this room thinks, like what their opinions and thoughts are, but you're brought into this room to just laugh and have a good time. And that one person is on stage, facilitating that. And it's like it's such a weird, there's no other experience like it.
Yeah.
Because then afterwards, like you're high almost off of it because you've been laughing for hours.
Yeah.
And it's just such an interesting experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, who's some of the people you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm seeing this right now?
Oh my God. So we went to a comedy store like last week and I got to see Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee on stage. Yeah. And like, I couldn't believe, because I only know them from podcasting. I didn't have a chance to see them on stage prior to the shutdown. So these two people that are in my ears and I watch the YouTube content because I want to see the people who I've been watching every week right in front of me. And then here they are like 10 feet from me on stage. Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, you're the person that I just saw, and like you're real.
And you feel that connection with them.
Yeah. And like last week we saw Chris DiStefano. Nice. And I actually got to like meet him and do like I touched him. I put my hands on the person who I've been watching and listening to for I don't know how long, but it's just like it's kind of a weird experience, to actually talk to them and see them.
Yeah. Like I was at the Hollywood Improv once, and it was in between shows, and Adam Devine from Workaholics was there, and he's just sitting there, and then suddenly we got to talking, and then we took a picture, and then the guy from Anchorman, the guy who plays Champ,
Dave Kushner.
Yeah.
I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Comes up behind me thinking that like I'm friends with him, like with Adam Devine, and he like massages my shoulders, which might not have been good, but it was like, oh, he thinks I'm part of this group.
Is this like a good story or?
No, it was okay. It ended up pretty nice.
It's about to take a turn.
So then we got in his car. That's cool. It's cool when you know that, like, oh, they're people too.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
they just want to hang out.
I will say too, I've noticed, not in a weird way, but I've DM'd some of these comedians before, just like big fan, great show tonight, whatever.
Yeah.
And they usually respond back, or they'll like,
What?
yeah, and these are like verified accounts with like hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of followers.
Yeah.
And they'll actually respond back to you, or they'll give you like the little double tap, and that feels really good.
Yeah, and I think I've had that happen to me too. I think they just know that the people that they see in these cities, like, they're gonna come back, so they have to like reach out to people and be part of that community. Mm-hmm. And that's what's cool about it, is like by doing these podcasts and doing these live events, even with the podcast, like they're always connecting with the people that they're supporting them. And there's so many opportunities. If you like a podcast, you'll see it live, or a comedian, you'll be able to see them at the Comedy Store and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, man. I was trying to think of an example of people that I've seen, but some of them have been canceled. So we're just gonna move on.
Oh no!
Let me know.
You saw Bill Cosby? When'd you see Bill Cosby? Tell me about that.
I saw Louis C.K. like right before.
Oh, he's back now.
I think he's back now.
He's back
because he made
now,
a movie.
That's true, but
I think he's okay.
He was also on YMH and Rogan like the last week.
Yeah, because he made a movie, and I think he's
Like,
okay now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he's back. Well, he won an award too. He won like
He won an Emmy.
An Emmy, yeah.
Oh yeah,
he did. Yeah, he won an Emmy for what was it for? One of his specials.
A special, stand-up special, yeah.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what led to the creation of the podcast?
Well, I kept doing this thing where I would start a podcast and then it would fizzle out or something. Mm-hmm. But I think I finally found in Marcus he'll like keep me accountable to do this more, because he's so the fan of comedy, and I'm like wanting to do comedy all the time. So I felt like it was a good mesh to like keep us both going. Mm-hmm. To where like now we're at like 13 episodes and we're like not gonna stop.
Yeah.
Which feels really good.
That's great.
Yeah, I've kind of a similar story. We kind of started one like podcast, but it was just kind of fucking around. But I wanted to do like either a YouTube channel or something about, it would be just me like dissecting like gaming or like anime or like anything. And it just never really happened. But then once I started finding the comedian podcasts, and I was like, oh, I think I can do this. And then finding out, I already knew he was into comedy, but just finding like he's also down in the same thing about like we can hold each other accountable. Like, because even though like there was 1 week where I didn't want to come in and record because I was just feeling lazy. And it's like, no, I have to show up because he has to be there too. And then like with you too, like we paid for the time. So like I have to go. And it's just like, it's now that we like, again, holding each other accountable, it's like, yeah, now it's taken off and like we have kind of a little bit of a following, and it's been great.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It's like even when you don't feel like it, you come and you feel good about after you do it. It's like the artistic reward of it is something you get right away.
Right.
And that's what everybody that I've talked to on this show and that makes a podcast are like, yeah, that's the best part, is just making it. And that's kind of what you start out with, and then now that you have like a little bit of a following, you're like, oh yeah, now people appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that day that I didn't want to come in, I felt good afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that bad. Like I could have done this,
Yeah. What has been the biggest challenge making the show?
Well, the first was that we did like 7 episodes feeling like we're on a good high.
Yeah.
And even the guy we were producing with was like, oh yeah, usually people quit by now. And then we got done and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to keep producing this. I have to shut the place down.
Damn. What did you guys say on the show that made them shut down the whole studio?
What do we say that day?
I don't remember. It was really deflating because that was hard. Like we were gaining momentum, and like each week was getting better, and we were excited to come back. And it wasn't like anybody's fault. It's just like that's how everything worked out.
Yeah.
And I was one that said that episode 7 because I looked it up online about like podcasting, and like most podcasts don't get past episode 7. Like, well, we just recorded 7 and we're coming back next week. Yeah. And that's when our former producer was like, unfortunately, you know, this is what's happening. And we're like, fuck.
Oh, shit.
So
shouldn't have said that.
Yeah,
that's what we said.
Yeah, it was like,
we said, we got this.
Yeah, got too cocky. So there was a little, like, we think it was 2 weeks of like, what are we going to do? You know, like, we want to keep doing this in some way. And we're like, should we do Zoom or like figure it out? And then we found this amazing place. Yeah. And yeah, that's probably the hardest hurdle, because there was no, once we decided we wanted to do it, there was no hesitation to be like, oh, should we actually pull the trigger and do it? It was just like, yeah, we're both into doing this, so let's just go do it. Yeah. You know, and we both have like, we're both available on Friday for a couple hours. Like, let's just go record our thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the hurdle is like, you know, writing stuff for the show, mm-hmm. you know, but it's not that hard.
Like, what's the process of like writing an outline, or how do you guys do it?
So for me, I just kind of try to log everything that I do for the week. You know, I'll either screenshot stuff on my phone that I want to talk about, or I coincidentally find myself in, you know, situations where I don't know for what reason, where it's like a meaty topic I can discuss. So like we just recorded an episode right now, and I had a situation where I was in a company meeting and it was just like a fucking shit show. But while I was in that shit show, I was like, okay, this is good material for the podcast. So I'm going to just kind of remember everything that's happening right now. And then when I got home, I immediately started writing and was like, okay, you know, like talk about this, can talk about this, talk about this. And it leads into other topics you can talk about as well.
Yeah.
So it's not really too hard to create content for the pod for me.
Yeah, this is a matter of writing it down. What about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I try to find something, like talk about the stuff that's going on in our daily life, you know, like whatever's in pop culture, but like something that's geared to being in your 30s, because it's just different, man. Like your body is different. I was teaching today, and I was explaining to kids that like, hey kids, you could like break an arm. Yeah. But like Mr. McKay, like if he breaks his arm, I'm out, man.
Can't afford that.
I can't do that.
No, yeah.
So like just stuff like that, or like how like your body, like your stomach doesn't want to like eat the same foods anymore, and it's like, what the heck? We've been through like so many years. We've been like 30 years together, and they just decide to retire. Yeah. Just take a break. So I like to make it geared towards like our age, because I feel like that's pretty unique.
And also you want to make sure it's something that people want to hear. So it has to be relatable in some way. So like that, like eating food, like all of us that are this age are like, yeah, I can't eat cheese. So I get it. But that is also kind of a hurdle. It's just like, how can I outline this into something that somebody wants to hear? Because I know like for a lot of podcasts, people just want to listen to like, they want to be like a fly in the wall for conversation. Yeah. Which I do that too when I listen to podcasts. Like I don't need to be in the room with you. Like, sometimes I'll have them on in the background and I'm reading a book or I'm like playing a video game, whatever. I just want to hear people talking. Yeah. So I have to like, I also kind of think about that when I'm writing stuff down. And it's just like, does anyone want to hear this? Nah, I don't want to hear this. So I'll just cross it out. But
yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's like it's a matter. You got to edit yourself sometimes, like you're saying. Yeah. So what are your goals for it? Where do you hope to take it from here?
Well, right now I'm just seeing this as like a hobby, because I love podcasting, and now that I'm kind of we're kind of part of the podcasting world. My goal really is just to keep doing it. You know, if it ends up being exploding in some way, great. You know, it's incredible. But even if it doesn't, like, this is just, I think like this is what I want to do. Yeah. Oh, I love the long form conversation, and because we talked about it in one episode about like conversation is an art. Mm-hmm. And some people can't do it, which is fine, but some people can. And when it's successful and when it's, you know, when it sounds great, it sounds great. It's great to hear. And I just want to keep talking.
I think that kind of goal keeps us humble too, to where we're not like, we have to be the next Joe Rogan. No, because Joe Rogan had no plan to be this big.
Yeah, you think about it that way. All these hugely like $1 million podcasts, which again, success is measured in different ways. Yeah. But it's like they've been doing that shit for like 15 plus years. Yeah. And we've been doing it for 15 weeks.
Even at 7 years, I'm like, I have a good amount of people listening, but I still am trying to build,
Right, you didn't get that.
It's a grind,
You didn't get that Spotify deal for $100 million.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. I'm always saying Spotify cut the check.
Yeah, they could. That's kind of how you have to look at it too. Is like you can't look at the finish line. You can't be like, oh, it's 10 feet away. It's just like there really is no finish line here. It's just keep doing what you love, and it resonates with some people. Maybe it doesn't, but as long as you love doing it, keep doing it.
True. Yeah. Well, that's great. And they can follow you on Instagram at uncle_Marcus and then _Clinton_show. They can see it on the screen if they're watching on YouTube. So before I let you guys go, I have a couple segments to do here. The first is called Dope or Nope. I'm going to give you a topic, and you're going to tell me if you think it's dope or nope. I will have a drink as well.
Dope.
All right. So
I think that's dope.
That's dope.
Dope or nope? Hot Cheetos.
Oh, is it the hot Cheeto fries or just hot Cheetos?
Hot Cheetos.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm nope. I don't like hot Cheetos.
You don't like hot Cheetos?
That's the one thing I stand against, I think.
You lost all the Hispanic listeners.
Sorry. No. I like the spicy kind. Wait, come back. Latinos, come back.
Do you squeeze a lemon in them?
I don't like them much.
Oh, you don't like them either?
So what are you doing?
So you also lost your
So
love.
yeah, I'll enjoy a hot Cheeto every once in a while, but
Yeah.
I won't eat a bag of them.
But michelada, dope.
Yeah.
There we go. Got him back. Got him back with a Corona. Next.
Pepsi, dope or dope?
I don't really drink soda, but I wouldn't say nope.
Dope.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pepsi's dope. Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
dope for sure.
Dope.
I fucking love it.
Last time you were there?
I was there the week before the shutdown in 2020.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was rad, dude. Like I got a suite at the Cosmo.
Yeah.
And it was just like a weekend of indulgence. Where like we're just eating whatever the fuck we want. We're gambling a lot of money because at that time, like that was kind of like the goal of the trip was like we're in the city of sin. Let's just fucking sin. Spending a bunch of money, eating a bunch of food. Went to a couple strip clubs too. Yeah. And we didn't go to any clubs or anything, but other than the strip clubs. But
I went to the Palomino the last time I was there, and I stayed out till 6 a.m.
Dude,
Yes.
who are you?
it's so cool because like that. I would never do that here, 6 a.m, but in Vegas, I wasn't out till 6. Yeah, I was out till probably like 4, which that's insane here. I would never do that. But I remember getting back to my hotel room at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, well, I'm not really done yet. So I went downstairs to the bar and had another drink, and then going to bed at like 4 or 4:30. And I was like, you can't do this anywhere else. Like, but Vegas, everybody is still out, so it's not like no one's judging you for being a fucking heathen at that 4 a.m, and it's like
how it is.
It's dope.
All right, Buzz Lightyear, dope or nope?
Dope, dope, dope.
Yeah.
Dopey de dope to dope to dope.
Are you talking about the movie or the character?
This is a character. We know the movie's nope.
The new one?
I did not enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. Jeez.
Sorry.
I love Buzz Lightyear.
Okay.
Buzz Lightyear.
I'll say he's dope. I'm not a big Toy Story fan, but
I think it was my first impression I ever tried. I just did the eyebrow thing. Yeah, I just did the eyebrows.
do his voice.
Well, I was a kid.
Game of Thrones, dope or nope?
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, you're wearing oh yeah, the Deadpool. I didn't even.
Deadpool.
I wrote that
is on the
before I
Iron
saw that.
Throne. It says the game is over, but it's begun again.
Yeah, there's that new show out. I'm not going to be an elitist or like an asshole, but dope novel series, dope show up until like season 4, and then I was like, fuck this show. It dropped off. Like it's a controversial thing. That could be a whole podcast episode. My thoughts about Game of Thrones, but like it was dope till season 4, and then it was like, fuck this shit.
Frappuccinos, dope or nope?
Nope.
No.
It's a nope. Now
It's a big
we went to college.
Yeah.
I had frappuccinos all the time.
Me too. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know how we did that.
I don't know either.
It's gross. There's no coffee in that, right?
There's no, I don't know.
It's like a
There's
milkshake.
like 2 shots,
Stayed awake.
like 2 pumps.
Yeah.
2 pumps of sweetener.
Yeah.
So,
So that was Dope or Nope, the 30's podcast. And now I have a game that I wrote for you here. It's called Classic Comedy with 2 Ks. All right, so I'm going to read to you guys classic jokes from comedians. I would say these are from the 90s and forward.
okay.
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 I'm not confident, but
So 90s? Okay.
I would say starting at the 90s and more modern stuff too. All right. This is called classic comedy. I'm gonna read the first one. Now they show you detergents take out blood stains. A pretty violent image there. I think if you got a T-shirt with a blood stain all over it, maybe laundry isn't your biggest problem. Maybe you should get rid of the body before you do the wash. Who was that?
Let's see. Get rid of the body before you do the wash.
It's a dark joke.
Definitely not a Seinfeld joke.
Is there like a multiple choice?
What did you just say?
It's not Seinfeld.
Is it?
Is it Seinfeld?
Yeah. It's
Seinfeld. Oh my god. Okay. And I went.
Hey, trust your instincts.
Yeah. Okay. Seinfeld.
I'll give you a ding. There you go. I had to find the ding button.
What year was that from? Do you have?
I don't know. I just found the quote.
Okay.
Why don't you hide the body? You need a voice for it.
All right. Religion's like salt. A little's good. Too much can fuck up the meal. I mean, I'm basically trying to find God before God finds me. But God never finds you at a good time. You're never sitting courtside at a Knicks game getting a hand job from Halle Berry. God shows up. She strokes a good dick, don't she? I made her. I made your dick too. Enjoy the game.
Chris Rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I love that one. So good.
All right, that was Chris Rock. All right, here's another one. You should feel so lucky, so flattered, so blessed and highly favored if you ever had the opportunity to get your dick sucked by a woman that makes a lot more money than you. Because all the things this important woman could be doing with her valuable time, all her responsibilities, all the interesting opportunities and deals knocking on her door. But no. Who wrote this joke?
Let's see. Huh.
I'll say it's from a Netflix stand-up
A
special.
Netflix stand-up special?
Yeah.
So more recently.
Yeah.
Okay. I know the more recent stuff. Louis C.K.
No.
No?
You can't use those jokes.
Ali Wong?
Yeah.
Would you have guessed that?
No, I wouldn't
No.
guess. I thought that would be a male comedian for sure.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Louis C.K. cannot say those jokes.
I would not read jokes like that from Louis C.K. on this show. All right, this is a longer one. Bear with me. Have you ever watched a cartoon that you used to watch when you were little as an adult? I was sitting there with my nephew and I turned on Sesame Street and I was like, oh good, Sesame Street. Now her learn to count and spell. But now I'm watching it as an adult and I realize that Sesame Street teaches kids other things. It teaches kids how to judge and label people. That's right, they got this one character named Oscar. They treat this guy like shit the entire show. They judge him right to his face. Oscar, you're so mean. Isn't he, kids? Yeah, Oscar, you're a grouch. He's like, bitch, I live in a fucking trash can. I'm the poorest motherfucker on Sesame Street. Nobody's helping me.
I have heard this.
And now you wonder your kids grow up and stuff over homeless people like, get over it, Grouch. Get a job, Grouch. Who's that?
I've heard this joke. I don't know who it is. Fuck.
Is it?
It was a bitch. I'm in a trash can. I've heard that.
It's a woman, right?
No.
It's
it's
not a
a
woman?
woman.
Okay.
Give me a
Let's
hint.
see.
Give me a hint.
Canceled comedian?
Not Chris D'Elia.
So is it Chris? No. Another canceled comedian? Not Louis C.K.
No.
No.
Recently.
It's, more recent. Oh, more recently canceled.
Recently canceled. This has been recently canceled.
Soft canceled, but not really.
Soft.
Still selling at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, shoot.
Dave
It's not-
Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle!
Oh, okay.
I hate myself now.
Dave Chappelle's not canceled right now, is he? He's just like
He
under the
tried.
microscope.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just he's just on the radar right
He
now.
can't get canceled.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Having a dick is one of the most dangerous things on the planet. How many people are eaten by sharks each year? How many lose everything because they've got because of their dick? Yet the Discovery Channel has a Shark Week every other fucking month. Why doesn't it have a Dick Week? Dick Week. That would be the scariest 7 days in the history of television.
I don't know. Give me a hint.
I guess like a...
He's a white guy.
Oh, white guy.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
good. That narrows it down. Not John Mulaney. You want to do it?
No,
dick.
no.
You
he
want
would
to say the
do
word
jokes.
dick?
Yeah.
Now he
Bill
would.
Burr. Let's see. I don't know.
I don't
Bill
know.
Burr? No.
No.
Bill Burr. Bill Burr.
Burr.
It is Bill Burr. Yes. Yes. Dude, all of yours like it's not that person. It is that
So
person.
you got two run. No, so you get 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, not bad.
Well, he got 3 out of 5. I didn't get any.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for coming through the 30's podcast on YouTube at Uncle_Marcus at the_Clinton_show. And you can see it on the screen. The 30's podcast every Monday, right? On all podcast
Every
platforms.
Monday.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to get back into the mix with Mondo and more on The Rodriguez Show.
The Rodriguez Show.